To seek fortune in a new career, or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving. Go cardio crazy in our clean and spacious clubs, or get down with some dumbbells and strength equipment. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month. It's glow time. See club for details.
Hey, it's Jake Sorensen. Tune in this Thursday as Early Break with myself, Steve Sipple, and Bill Bush, broadcast from the Nebraska Army National Guard UNL East Campus Readiness Center to honor Veterans Day. You won't want to miss this one. That's this Thursday for Early Break from 6 to 8 a.m. at the UNL East Campus Readiness Center, just north of 33rd and Holdridge.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, no big bread.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at BeatriceBakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, probably sunny skies. We'll start the day off. Then we'll see mostly cloudy skies this afternoon. We'll see a high of around 70. Tonight, partly cloudy skies are expected with a low of around 45. And mostly sunny skies will return to the forecast for tomorrow with a high of around 72. Meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
This is Adam Carriker on The Ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on the ticket. Alas, it is not a victory Monday, but it is still a beautiful day nonetheless. We got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. All right, Nebraska men's basketball kicks off their season today. Nebraska women's basketball kicks off their season today. Of course, we're going to talk a little Husker football, a little college football, look back at the weekend of games that was, as it were, and have a little fun along the way. All right, also, it should be mentioned, Nebraska volleyball, if you weren't aware, all right, they matched their best start since the 2006 national championship team at 23-0 with a 5-set thriller versus Penn State and a sweep at Rutgers over the weekend. They were down 2-0 to Penn State, and they came back and did the reverse sweep, so to speak, won 3 in a row, won the match, and beat a very game Penn State Nittany Lions volleyball team on the road. All right, Merritt Beeson with 47 kills over the course of the two matches was named National Player of the Week last week. I hesitate to throw this out there, but I don't believe in jinxes and stuff like that, so I'm just going to say it. You know, there's a chance. Maybe it's the appropriate time to just start throwing out the word possibly. Maybe the volleyball team going undefeated. I know. What am I thinking? What in the blue hell is wrong with me? I apologize. But it's a thought that's entered my mind, so it's probably entered other people's minds as well. Of course, they're going to play Wisconsin again. All right, here in the very near future, next couple of weeks. And who knows, they might face them a couple of more times after that before the season is ultimately over. But Nebraska volleyball off to a 23-0 start. Great comeback win over Penn State this past weekend, a sweep of Rutgers. All right, their best start since 2006 when they won the national championship that season. All right, Rico didn't feel like coming in to do any work today, so Jake is taking over. He's helping me out today. Actually, Rico is at the women's basketball game, Pinnacle Bank Arena. Should have tipped off about 5-6 minutes ago. All right, women's basketball kicks off their season today versus, Northwestern State and the men's basketball team. All right. They kick off a little bit later this evening against Lindenwood. All of that fine basketball will be at Pinnacle Bank Arena here in Lincoln. All right, so we got a great show. Nebraska football. All right, and before I do that, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. As always, you know, these programs, this radio station, what happens here on 93.7 The Ticket does not happen without you, the people. It also does not happen without sponsors and great partners. All right, so GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, great accents for any backyard landscaping project. They sell to homeowners and contractors, and they deliver anywhere near or far. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Check them out at gelandscapesupply.com or call 402-467-1627. All right. And as always, it's never too early to start sending in your questions, comments, concerns for the people segment, the last 10 minutes of this show. You can send those in, call or text to 402-464-5685. Now, Nebraska, as we know, comes up a little bit short against Michigan State. Frustrating simply because Michigan State, I mean, they're probably one of the worst teams we've played all year, one of the worst teams in the Big Ten, a game that felt very, very winnable. Okay, obviously Nebraska did not play good at all. Michigan State came out more fired up. Michigan State found a way to win. Nebraska did the opposite. Turnovers continue to be a gigantic issue. Okay, when Harburg started the first couple of games, the quarterback did a much better job at taking care of the ball, protecting the rock than Sims did in his first couple of starts. That seems to have reared its ugly head here the past a few games when it comes to this Nebraska football team. The offense needs to find something that they can hang its hat on and just keep going with it. Okay. It's obviously not going to be the pass game. We're not going to rely heavy on the pass game. That's not the first thing anybody's going to jump to. Running the ball and running it and being stronger as the second half went along seemed to be the formula that we were doing in the middle of the season. And then it seemed like ever since the bye week, we haven't been quite as consistent with it. And I'm not sure why. And I'd love to see a little bit more option. I know the instant reaction is, Harburg doesn't pitch the ball very much, and the ball's already on the ground a ton, and it's already all sorts of issues. You know, that's a fair point. I would like to see us go back to being incredibly patient, playing incredibly complementary football because we have a really good defense. And yes, Michigan State, they put up more points offensively against the Black Shirts than they had in 3 games. I'm aware that I still believe we have a good defense. It was really Michigan State's ability to find big plays here and there. Okay, and I'm going to go through some of the stats real quick from the game, and what you're going to find is that there are statistical advantages that Nebraska had, but the big plays was not one of them. Okay, and one of my keys coming into the game versus Michigan State was we have to continue to limit our opponents' big plays. Okay, because teams probably are not going to consistently drive up and down the field on this black shirt defense, but if they can find a way to do, I don't know, a double pass and get 50 yards and complete it, and then all of a sudden they're at our 12-yard line, well, that makes things a lot easier for them. So the big plays is kind of where Michigan State had a little bit more success than we did. I'd really like to get back to running the ball, being absurdly, almost annoyingly patient on offense. And then when the second half comes around, and I haven't felt like this since before the bye week, where I felt like, man, let's just get to that second half and we're going to be more physical and we're going to knock them backwards. We're going to move them around and we're going to be the more physical team. And I haven't felt like that in the second half of a game really since the bye week. I think we've made a concerted effort to try to, we run the ball plenty, don't get me wrong, right? If you look at the stats, we had 41 rushing attempts. Okay, we also threw the ball 28 times. For a team that is considerably, absurdly better at running the ball than passing, I'm typically I like 60-40 offenses, 60 run, 40 pass, but we should not be 60-40, not even close. 2-1 would be awfully generous. 66 2/3 and 33 1/3 times that we're passing the ball, 2-1 run to pass. I feel like that would be incredibly generous because we have a defense that's going to keep it close. And if we run the ball and we are just consistent and patient with it, and I do like mixing up some options in there because it makes you a little bit more dynamic, a little bit harder to defend. Okay, and then obviously it also sets up the option passes as well. So for me, that's what I'd like to get back to and focusing more offensively these last 3 games. The Huskers still only 1 game away from bowl eligibility. You look at the last 3 opponents, it's weird. You look at Maryland at one point, I was like, man, they're pretty good. And they're still a team that's probably going to end up in a bowl game. They still can score offensively. They still made improvements through the transfer portal in their front 7 defensively. Okay, they got some size, but they're very, very beatable. Lost to Northwestern. At the same time, you can look at them and be like, man, they're not going to be an easy win. I don't feel about Maryland like I felt going into the Michigan State game about Michigan. Okay, you look at Wisconsin, quarterback's banged up, running back's banged up, wide receiver banged up. Their fans are going off about how this is unacceptable football and this is embarrassing. And I understand that that's how they feel. From a Nebraska perspective, they're still Wisconsin, and they're still not an easy win, yet they're a very beatable team. Iowa, my God, that game versus Nebraska might be 3-2. It might be 2-0. I have no idea. It might look like a soccer baseball score with 2 good defenses. And how do I put this? Really bad, 2 bad offenses. That could be one of the most entertaining, low-scoring games I've ever seen. I have a feeling it's going to be fun to watch, ugly to watch, close, which will keep people's interest. Plus, it's a rivalry game. Plus, there may be a bowl game on the line. Okay. For Nebraska as well. So, those last 3 games, we're only 1 game away from a bowl game, 1 win away from a bowl game. But I have no idea what's going to happen in those last 3 games. It's crazy. They're all winnable, yet not easy teams to beat. All winnable games, yet not easy teams to beat in any way, shape, or form. Okay. So heads up as always on Mondays, 12:30. I'm going to be reacting to Matt Rule's press conference. Okay. We're going to take a commercial break here in about 10 minutes. I'll get all the updates there. I will react to that. We'll take another little break, and as always, then we will do the people segment, the last 10 minutes of the show. But you start to look at some of the stats from the game, and I'm not going to belabor a lot of this. I'm going to go through it quickly. I got a lot of notes here, but I'm going to go through it quickly. First downs, we had 19. They only had 11. Third down efficiency, we converted 33%. They were 3 of 14 on third downs. That is awful from a Michigan State perspective. Great from the Black Shirts perspective. But again, it's the big plays that they were able to find. And it's not like they had a bunch of them, but they had enough, okay, to where they actually had more total yards than we did. They had more total yards despite having a terrible third down conversion percentage on offense, only having 11 first downs. We had 19, yet they had more total yards. Okay, yards per pass. All right, we averaged 4.6. They had 9.7. They more than doubled us in that category. When it comes to rushing, I mean, the rush defense was good again. We gave up 2 yards per carry, only gave up 63 total yards on 31 carries to Michigan State. The Black Shirts did. All right. As I mentioned earlier, we ran the ball 41 times, 3.6 yards per rush, 148 total yards rushing. We didn't exactly blow it out the water there. Okay. Turnovers, we had 3, they had 0. That's really the difference in the game. They were able to manufacture, because I don't know how else to put it. They didn't consistently move the ball on us, but they found a ways to score. They manufactured plays so they could score, and we manufactured ways to take the ball out of our own hands and give it to them, a.k.a. turnovers. Okay, penalties. Nebraska had 0. I can't remember the last time a Nebraska football team had 0 penalties in a game. They had 7 for 70. All right, so you start to look beyond those stats just a little bit. Okay. Defensively, all right, we were led on the day. I'm going to start with the quarterback. Okay. Heinrich Harburg, 12 of 28 on the day, 129 yards, 4.6 yards per average, 0 touchdowns, 2 IATs, a QBR 39.3. That's obviously a very rough day. All right, Caton Hauser, Michigan State's quarterback, 13 of 20, 165 yards passing, 8.3 yards per pass. All right, 1 touchdown, 54.5 QBR. Alante Brown was 1 for 1. That's the former Nebraska transfer, the high school quarterback. Okay. Frankly, a guy I was hoping we could have gotten more out of while he was here at that point in time. That's neither here nor there. All right, he completed that 42-yard double pass, okay, which helped set up a Michigan State score. You look at our rushing attack. Emmett Johnson is clearly the number 1 back right now, 13 carries, 57 yards, 4.4 yards per carry, 1 TD. A long run of the day of 11 yards, so not a lot of breakaway plays, not a lot of big plays on our end. Basically, Michigan State didn't turn the ball over. We did. Michigan State found a way to manufacture some plays with bigger outcomes for them and bigger plays, and we did not. And that was the difference in the game. Okay, Heinrich Harburg, second on the team, rushing yards on Saturday, 14 carries, 31 yards, 2.2 yards per carry. Not great. Pretty bad, honestly. Anthony Grant, 9 carries, 35 yards, 3.9 yards per carry. He had the long run on the day of 16 yards. Our pass catchers, okay? I love tight ends. They're one of my favorite things. I was a high school quarterback, calling plays for the teams that I coach now. Tight ends are a big weapon and a gigantic thing that I use in our offense's arsenal. I love tight ends, but Thomas Fedoni, 3 receptions, 43 yards, 14.3 yards per catch, a long catch on the day of 27 yards, and Malachi Coleman, 2 receptions, 39 yards, 19.5 yards average, and a long catch on the day of 30 yards. One of your receivers should be one of your leading pass catchers. Okay, in a perfect world, and then the tight end is the complementary pass catcher. That's how it works. Okay, a receiver should be your top pass catcher, and then your tight end is kind of your safety blanket when it's short yardage situations, when it's goal line situations, when it's a crowded area situation, you got a big target, you take advantage. He should take advantage of it. He should really be the complementary pass catcher. All right. And then we had 2 fumbles on the day. Okay, you look defensively. Reimer led the Black Shirts with 7 tackles. Gifford had 5. Henrich had 5. He's had kind of a quiet year this year. Nick Henrich really has. Freshman Cam Lenhart, he's a guy to get excited about. He had a sack on the day. So that's a guy to be excited about, a guy who's got a bright future. Okay, this is something, I don't know how else to put it. It just kind of annoys me. All right, of all the punt returns and kick returns that happened on Saturday, we returned 0 kick returns. We only returned 1 punt return for 4 yards. Like, we aren't even trying. And I know what happens. If you don't have someone you trust to catch the ball without fumbling it, that's by far and away. That's not even number 1 on the priority list. If you're returning a punt or a kick, it's number 1, 2, and 3. Because if you ain't got the ball, you got all sorts of issues. So I get that. We don't have anybody who can catch the ball and just try to return it on a somewhat consistent basis. Like, nobody. I mean, you look at Michigan State, okay? They averaged 11 yards per return. Now, they didn't have a bunch of returns, but that's more than a first down advantage that they've moved the ball forward that their offense is starting with every time they have the ball versus Nebraska. That's a big deal when you have what everyone knew was going to be a low-scoring game, and when you have an offense in Nebraska that's struggling. Okay, they returned one punt return for 8 yards, which is as low as that is. It doubles our punt return yards on the day. So, and Ethan Nation had one return for 4 yards. All right, Tristan Alvano hit his third field goal in a row, going back the last few games. So he seems to have found his stride. It wasn't a long one, 24 yards, but he's made a couple of long ones. I'm happy to see him finding his stride. Brian Buschini, he's done a fair job this year. I feel like he hasn't been quite the same as a year ago. Okay, 5 punts, 35.4 yards per punt on average. Pinned them, Michigan State, inside their 21 time, long on the day, long punt of 45 yards. All right, Michigan State pinned us inside our 20 3 different times. Okay, when you're pinned inside your 23 times and you're struggling on offense, that's tough. When you pretty much have absolutely no return game on offense, from a special teams perspective to help your offense, that is struggling. That's tough. When you make bad decisions on when to and when not to catch the ball around your 5-yard line, that's tough. Those are things that have to absolutely be fixed 100%. And to me, those aren't things that take a process or take a long time. Those are things that, do we have somebody back there who can catch the ball and realistically give us an opportunity to average just 10 yards per return? Just get us a first down. I think that's something that can realistically be done. There has to be somebody in the locker room that can at least attempt to do that. So I'm going to leave Michigan State and that game behind us now. I always give my final thoughts. I always do a final stats breakdown. That's what I always do after I watch the film. That's what I do each and every Monday. But Michigan State was what it was. It was a disappointment. It was a bad game. It's a tough loss. And the way I see it, it's 1 of 4. We have 5 wins and 4 losses, and it is now 1 of 4, no more, no less. I'm ready to move on and move forward with, we got basketball, we got volleyball, and we got another game coming up versus Maryland in football this Saturday. Now, I will say this. November, anybody who knows me, like Halloween, okay, through January 1st is my favorite time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year, number one, because it's the games that are played in November are the ones you remember. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit more broad college football today. I know we got a commercial break coming up here soon, but I want to do that throughout the show because now we're getting to the most exciting part of the time of the year of college football as a whole. Also, you got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, bowl games that used to be exciting. Okay, but college football playoff, things of that nature. So that is literally my favorite 2 months of the entire year. My particular favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving because you got the food, you got family, you got football, you got the Cowboys losing more often than not, which is always great. You got rivalry weekend, you got championship weekend coming up right after that. Pretty soon we'll have 12 college football playoff teams, okay, and an extended college football playoff. I used to love the bowl games. Let's be honest, the bowl games are dead. When people started sitting out of the Rose Bowl, that was the last bowl game that was sacred outside of the 2 college football playoff games every year. When they started sitting out of the Rose Bowl, I decided that the bowl games are dead as they are. And so if that is what it is, which makes me sad, fine, I'll buy into more college football playoff teams. It's not particularly the way I would have chosen to do it, but it's still my favorite time of the year because of the holidays. I love when the weather gets colder. I'm a big guy. Big guys don't like hot weather. We like it when it's a little chillier. Okay. And it's the best time of the year for college football in general. So I want to get through a couple of these. We're going to go to a commercial break. Then I'll react to Rules Presser. Okay. And then I'll finish my thoughts on this past weekend's college football games along with the People's segment. You start off with, man, I had 2 TVs going at once. Alabama, LSU, Washington, USC. And there was nobody playing any sort of defense anywhere on either one of those TVs. As a defensive guy, it made me want to vomit. As a college football fan, I was happier than a pig in poop, to quote Doug Ostergaard last week, who was on my show on Friday. I love Doug. That was a great quote. All right, Alabama, number 8. I keep waiting for them to lose, and they just keep winning. It's amazing to me. All right, they outlasted LSU 42-28. Now, I will say this. I hate the targeting penalty. I hate that there's roughing the passer anytime you just place a pinky fingernail on a quarterback. Okay, but Jaden Daniels he got knocked out of the game with that hit. If you saw it, it was targeting, and it knocked him out of the game, and LSU didn't score again. Okay, and he's a Heisman Trophy candidate, and that is a legit LSU offense with a bad defense. And once their quarterback was gone, Alabama had the game won. Alabama wins 42-28 over LSU. All right, now that Washington USC game, USC actually hung in there better than I thought they would. I didn't give them much of a chance at all. They can score. Caleb Williams, the dude, is going to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Yes, I know he was crying afterwards, and I know there's all sorts of mixed reactions to that. It is what it is. It was an exciting game. Washington with a healthy Michael Penix Jr. That dude is a top 10 draft pick, maybe the Heisman Trophy winner this year. I still don't think Washington will beat Oregon in a rematch of the Pac-12 football game, but they beat them earlier this year, and I go by what happened on the field, not my opinion. So they might be my favorite team to watch right now. Nebraska is always going to be number 1, but outside of Nebraska, they are my favorite team to watch right now, the Washington Huskies. They beat USC in the Coliseum 52-42. All right, USC actually. So I know some USC fans, and I got a text from one of them. His name's Louis. Louis, how you doing, buddy? Sends me this text, and it's a screenshot that USC's defensive coordinator has been fired, and he just simply says, "Thank God," with like 5 exclamation points. I responded with, "Wait, what? USC had a defensive coordinator? I had no idea." And so he took it in stride. He laughed. He didn't actually think it was funny, but he rolled with my joke, and I much appreciated it. Okay, so Washington gets the win over USC 52-42. If you were like me and you stayed up and you watched Oregon State and Colorado late Saturday night, Colorado is still in year 1, and they came out on fire, talking about receipts and all this and that, and they kind of made their own life a little bit harder but they're going to talk. That's who Deion is. I mean, he's prime time, baby. That's what he did as a player. It's what he's going to do as a coach. It's who he is. But you could argue that their program's in a lot of disarray. I mean, they changed their play caller this week, and then the post-game press conference, one of the reporters asked Shadur Sanders, "Do you prefer who calls your plays?" And Shadur got all upset about it, was very unhappy about it. "That's a set-up question. How dare you ask me this?" And Shadur, you were right, but maybe as an overall whole react a little bit differently. But they are 2-5. Colorado is, since they played Nebraska. And the odds of them going to a bowl game are not great. They got like UCLA, they got like Utah. I think Washington State, I have to look at their schedule again, but all teams that are capable of beating them. So Colorado falls to Oregon State 26-19, but man, and then to, in their defense, I know I'm defending Colorado here, but I try to be objective. They have one of the toughest schedules in the entire country. My wife, when we're watching them play Oregon State, she goes, "Every time we watch Colorado, they're playing a ranked team." She ain't wrong. I mean, they have one of the toughest schedules in the entire country. Now, I don't feel one iota sorry for them, but the facts are what they are. The facts don't care about people's feelings. The fact is it's year 1. The fact is they ran their mouth. The fact is they started hot. The fact is now they're getting a bunch of blowback. It looks like it's in disarray. And the fact is they play a tough schedule. It is what it is. Okay. I still find them a lot less entertaining to watch. They've only actually scored over 20 points once in their last 3 games. So they're struggling on offense, and they're not any good at defense. Okay. So they got some issues going on down there in Colorado as well. It is still year 1 under Deion. So I'm curious to see how they can finish the year and then what they can do going into next year as well. And then obviously we get them in good old Lincoln, Nebraska. All right. I know we're up against it. I got a few more games I want to talk about before we wrap up the program later on today, but we're going to take a break, pay some bills, talk about Matt Rule's press conference, and chat a little bit more college football. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
It's football season, and that means coaches everywhere are busy making game plans. Hi, my name is Seth Morris with Liberty Law Group. Teams make game plans because no two opponents are the same. At Liberty Law, we know no two cases are the same. Whether it's a DUI, a criminal charge, or you were injured and it wasn't your fault, we tailor our legal game plan to meet your unique needs. We are relentless trial attorneys serving all of Nebraska. To learn more, go to libertylawnebraska.com. Again, that's libertylawnebraska.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OakStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
Oak Street Carpet.
1732 Oak Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hey, it's Chad with the Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the all-new complete post-workout recovery, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today and try a free sample or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today. Found in most local grocery stores.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. Each and every Monday, I'm live from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time, the fastest 2 hours in radio each and every week. Tuesday, Thursday, you can check out the Big Ten Show, the Carriker Chronicles, and on Wednesday, Steve Taylor, former All-American Nebraska quarterback, does his thing, drops his knowledge, and has a whole lot of fun here on 93.7 The Ticket. As always, check out GE Landscape Supply at gelandscapesupply.com. Also, check out carrikerchronicles.com. It's where all your football hopes and dreams will come true. It's just science, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it is time for thoughts and reactions to Matt Rule's presser. Now, it's interesting as I'm seeing some of these notes. Well, I'm just going to read them and then I'll react. I've already read them, but I'm going to read them again and then react publicly. All right. Rule said, and I quote, "Everything is about learning how to win. We have learned how to win." Now I got to pause the quote because when I read that, I was like, really? But then you got to finish his quote. Continued quote here. "But winning in November is completely different," end quote. And I was like, I'm glad you finished that off with that statement because learning how to win, I was like, I don't know if we're there yet, but learning how to win in November is different. And that is 1,000% true. It is. I just said it. All right. The games to remember are played in November. There's a reason for that. Okay, you're beat up, you're tired, you're sore. It's usually sometimes the rivalry games are usually there, but sometimes the bigger, better, tougher opponents are there. Plus, it's crunch time. Everything you do matters more, and that's harder. It's real easy to be a practice player All-American. I can name several practice player All-Americans who disappeared on a regular game day, let alone on a big-time game day, whether it's November, December, or whatever the case may be. All right. Nebraska coach Matt Rule says defensive end linebacker Prince William missed the game at Michigan State because he was in the concussion protocol. He could return this week against Maryland. All right, so my son Jacob actually got a pretty bad concussion. We're not actually sure what happened. He's going to see the neurologist tomorrow. He last week he goes, "Dad, you got to take me out of practice." And he never, ever asked to come out of practice. I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "I got a headache." I'm like, "All right, hop out." Like, I don't mess with pitchers throwing arms, and I don't mess with heads. He has had a headache for a week straight. Like, he can't be in a room with the lights on. It's crazy. And obviously, I don't know what Prince Will's dealing with, but I don't know how many times I had a concussion or didn't. I lived in an era where you didn't say anything. You didn't come off the field, and frankly, you were thought of as soft. Thank God if you said something, thank God we've educated ourselves a whole lot more since then. But I'll tell you what. We see the neurologist tomorrow, and I sure hope we get some good news because right now it's kind of crazy with Jacob having a headache for a week straight, can't have the lights on in the room, trying to help him get his schoolwork done. So anyways, I know I took a random sidebar there. What I'm saying is I don't mess with people's heads, especially when it comes to concussions and things of that nature. So Prince Will, dude, I hope you're cleared to play this week, and I hope you feel good. All right. Rule compares Tua Tagovailoa to Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray. He says, and I quote, "Everything you see his brother do, he can do," end quote. All right. So I agree about comparing him to Tua Tagovailoa, his brother. I see a lot of his brother in him. That's easy to see. I don't know about Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray. I feel like that's an opposing coach buttering up an opposing player. All right. Kill him with kindness. I want Matt Burke, all-pro center for the Vikings. That's what he used to tell me. Kill him with kindness. I think that's what Coach Rule's doing there. Don't get me wrong. Tagovailoa is a very good player, but Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, okay. On the final drive Saturday, Rule says, and I quote, "If the ball gets to the 40-yard line, we're going to kick the field goal, and I think we're going to make it," end quote. The coach has lots of faith in freshman kicker Tristan Alvano. And I should say this is via Mitch Sherman on Twitter. A successful kick would have sent the game to overtime. You know what's funny? Is I agree with Coach. It had gotten to the point with Tristan because we know he's got the big leg. He was just kind of finding his way early on. He's a true freshman. I think if they get to the 40, I think he makes the kick and it's overtime. And who knows what happens. All right. Nebraska coach Matt Rule says, and I quote, "I feel bad for our players. We're sitting at 5-4. We own 5-4. We have one game where the team scouted us. That's what scouting is called. I know what he's referencing, and he's being nice. We all do. That's not called scouting. All right, we have 2 games where the replay was wrong, end quote. All right, replay was handled wrong. He said it, awarding touchdowns to Minnesota and Michigan State. So this is where I thought things got a little bit interesting in the presser. Now, Matt Rule is a guy who owns his mistakes. He is a guy who takes accountability. He does not deflect blame. There's times I've actually heard him accept blame when I didn't think it was really on him, but he was doing what a head coach does. And he was accepting blame because he's the head of the program at times this year. And that's what a head coach should do. It's interesting because he kind of references some things for the first time this year in this presser. He references, all right, Gabe Ervin's touchdown just before half at Minnesota that the refs didn't count. Okay. Matt Rule said he's been a head coach 11 years, and he's never seen 2 touchdowns, one at Minnesota and one at Michigan State, incorrectly upheld. And I quote, everybody's on the same page that wasn't a catch on the touchdown, end quote, at Michigan State. Also, I should mention that this is the first time Rule has mentioned the Daniel Jackson touchdown going back to Minnesota. It's interesting to me. I was a little surprised to read this. And I'm not saying I blame the guy. But to point out refs calls, to go back to Minnesota, to do things of that nature, it's not something I thought I would hear him do, especially going back games and games. And to be clear, I think Matt Rule's a man of high character. What I think is going on here is there's some frustration. There's some frustration. Hey, Michigan scouted us. Okay. Michigan had all our signs, and they knew what we were doing before we knew what we were doing. Okay, by the way, I sent out a tweet about 40 minutes ago, give or take. I'm hearing some interesting things along the lines with Michigan. It could get crazy here in the next week or two. There are Big Ten coaches that are beyond furious. And why shouldn't they be? We're not just talking about a game here. We're talking about people's livelihoods. If you win or lose a game, and that happens enough over time, that can dictate whether you get fired or whether you get a raise. Okay. There are championship games that were affected by this. There are big-time games with Ohio State and other teams that were affected by this. Winning and losing, if you're a Michigan and Ohio State head coach, the game, as it's called, Michigan and Ohio State, that's a big deal. Coaches get hired, they get fired, they get raises, they get I mean, Ryan Day's been criticized to the nth degree up until they beat Notre Dame. Okay. And then they beat Penn State this year for not getting the job done, especially against Michigan. Like, this is a big deal, what they have done, because it has affected championships. It has affected the college football playoff. It has affected people's, I'm going to be honest, people, I think, forget that coaches are men trying to put food on their table for their families. And college football is a business. It's not a business more than it's ever been. It's just now more widely recognized that it's a business than it's ever been recognized before, with the TV deals and the super conferences and everything else that's going on. Like, this affects a lot of things. And I know for a fact, and I'm only hearing a small portion, so I can only imagine what I'm not hearing. There are a lot of Big Ten coaches who are irate. The NCAA is going to take way too long to do anything about this. If the NCAA ever does anything, Michigan has 90 days before they have to respond. The season's over. The College Football Playoff Committee has basically said this is not our problem. This is being laid at the feet of the Big Ten commissioner, and they want something done. Now, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, and I guess we'll see. I've heard things thrown around, such as Harbaugh being suspended again. I've heard things thrown around, such as Michigan being banned from the Big Ten title game. Who knows what'll happen, but I have heard these things from credible sources. And so what if Michigan beats Ohio State, banned from the Big Ten title game, Ohio State goes to the Big Ten title game, probably going to beat whoever they end up playing. I don't love saying that, but it's the truth. Probably won't be close. So you got a one less Big Ten conference champ. You got a 12-0 unbeaten Michigan team. Unless the College Football Playoff Committee changes their tune, they have said this is not our problem. Are they both going to get in? How does that work? I know I took a ginormous sidebar here, but I meant to talk about this in the first part of the program. And then when I read the one team scouted us line, I obviously thought of Michigan and what actually happened, sign stealing gate. And it's just like, it could get very interesting when it comes to Michigan and what does or doesn't happen, because there are some pissed Big Ten coaches, and rightfully so. And rightfully so. Here's the crazy thing. Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. That Michigan team is really good. It may be the best Michigan team they've ever had. It may be. There's a lot of football left to play. They haven't played Penn State, who they'll play this weekend. They haven't played Ohio State. They haven't played a conference championship game or any of those games. But they sure look really good, and they just look different. They just look different when you see them on the field. All right, I'm going to get back off my random sidebar. All right, back to Rule's press conference here. Basically, Rule, I think he's frustrated because he doesn't seem like the type of guy that would go back, 7, 8 games and bring up calls that he's never once talked about. But he can feel, and he even at what point during the press conference put his hand about a foot apart, and he said, we're this close. And I think when you're this close and you feel like there's things that are happening that are out of your control. I mean, the reffing in the Michigan State game was beyond awful. Okay, there were some bad calls missed in the Minnesota game. I would argue start a different quarterback, don't give it to the guy who's been fumbling in practice, and it's a moot point. But Michigan State, there were some really bad calls. So my point is this. I'm going to be honest, I don't love it that he's saying all this. But if I put myself in his shoes, which I always try to do, I try to put myself in other people's shoes, look at it from their perspective as best I can, he's got to be pretty frustrated. Okay, let's see if we got anything else here from Rule's press conference. All right. I got a couple other random things, not necessarily from the press conference. You're probably aware, if you're not, Nebraska will now play Wisconsin. Okay, November 18th, 6:30 p.m. on NBC. All right. This one's actually via John M. Bishop on Twitter, at JohnBishop71. Give him a follow. Heinrich Haarberg is on pace for the highest fumble rate by any Husker quarterback in the last 12 seasons of those who have had 100-plus rushing attempts. And he's got the list out here. Guys on this list are, Adrian Martinez, Tommy Armstrong, some of those types of guys. Taylor Martinez. Haarberg, 11 fumbles and 118 attempts. That's a fumble rate of 9.3%. Again, that's Mr. John M. Bishop on Twitter. Here's something a little bit more positive, pretty exciting. Okay. One particular site ranked the top 50 tight ends in all of college football entering week 10. And Thomas Fidone ranked as the 36th best tight end in the entire country. And when you play for an offense that hasn't effectively thrown the ball a lot, pretty good sign, especially for a young guy. A young guy we all know has a bunch of talent coming off those injuries. So I'm happy to see it for him. He gives a lot of effort blocking too. So it's hard not to root, for Thomas Fidone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that covers it for my presser reaction. Random out of nowhere thoughts. I love it when shows are live. You never know what's going to happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, the people segment, last 10 minutes of this show, call or text 402-464-5685. I will give some final thoughts on the rest of the college football action from this past weekend as well. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beers, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving. Go cardio crazy in our clean and spacious clubs, or get down with some dumbbells and strength equipment. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month. It's glow time. See Club for details.
Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly, the perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery, online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today. Found in most local grocery stores.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's Jake Sorensen. Tune in this Thursday as Early Break with myself, Steve Sipple, and Bill Bush broadcast from the Nebraska Army National Guard UNL East Campus Readiness Center to honor Veterans Day. You won't want to miss this one. That's this Thursday for Early Break from 6 to 8 a.m. at the UNL East Campus Readiness Center, just north of 33rd and Holdridge.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any landscaping project. And you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
If your car has sent you to the sidelines, Eustace Body Shop can help. With gold-class certified technicians, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop is your best choice this Husker season. And with 6 locations across central and eastern Nebraska, we've got you covered, whether you're rooting at home or you're headed to Memorial Stadium. Get a free online quote at EustaceBodyShop.com, and let's get you back in the game.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
This is Rick Heyman, president of Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I'm inviting you to stop by any of our 3 great locations to see why we have been voted best of for decades. We're a 4-generation jewelry company that refuses to compromise on quality or service. If you're in the market for anything for anyone special, nothing, and I mean nothing, says it better than Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Sartor Heyman Jewelers since 1905 in Lincoln and Grand Island.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, probably sunny skies. We'll start the day off, then we'll see mostly cloudy skies this afternoon. We'll see a high of around 70. Tonight, partly cloudy skies are expected with a low of around 45. And mostly sunny skies will return to the forecast for tomorrow with a high of around 72. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the People segment. We got questions rolling in I want to go through my final thoughts on the college football games from this past weekend uber quick, because then I want to get to the priority, which is your questions. All right, Ohio State, number 3 in the country. Well, number 1 in the CFP poll, number 3 in the AP poll. I guess their number 1 CFP poll is the most important one. All right, they beat Rutgers 35-16. Rutgers was ahead. This game was way closer than this score. Ohio State has the most impressive resume, but I do not believe they are the best team. All right, Texas was blowing out Kansas State. I predicted Kansas State to win this game with the upset. And I'm like, man, I feel like an idiot. Then before I knew it, Kansas State down by 3, 33-30, and then they throw one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in the history of Earth. Just don't throw the pick, and you can kick the field goal and go to overtime. But Texas survives versus Kansas State 33-30. Notre Dame, I mean, they were getting trounced by Clemson, but they just kept fighting back. Alas, Notre Dame is not able to overcome the mighty Clemson Tigers, 5-4 this year. The mighty Dabo fighting Sweeneys. All right, win 31-23. James Madison, only an FBS school for their second season. They are undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. 21st in the land. They win 42-14 over Georgia State. Florida State, they might be better than I think they are. I was loving Florida State after the LSU win. Then I was not. Now I'm starting to reevaluate. Florida State's just so hard to judge right now. It'll be easier when they actually play better opponents that aren't just LSU. But, you know, they're the team out of the ACC to keep your eye on. They're really the only team. So I'm kind of rooting for them just because, I don't know, I want someone outside of the SEC to actually be competitive in the national championship game this year. Oklahoma. I saw a bowl projection somewhere where they have Nebraska playing Oklahoma in a bowl game. I think we're a long ways away from that, but man, that'd be awesome. Oklahoma Falls. They've lost 2 out of the past 3 years in Stillwater to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State now is the inside track to play Texas in the Big 12 championship game. Number 15, Oklahoma State over number 17, Oklahoma, 27-24. Oregon, who I think is the best one-loss team in the country. It's the only reason I'm bringing them up. They roll Cal 63-19. I think they're the best one-loss team. Georgia, man, that was a battle versus Missouri. Number 16, Missouri takes Georgia down to the wire. Georgia does end up winning 30-21, though. Now, I saved this. Actually, there's one more, and then I'll get to I like the group of 5 teams. I'm like the only person I know that's actually intrigued by them. I don't know why that is. And then when I say that, I don't know why more people aren't interested. Does nobody else like the Cinderella story? Is it just me? All right, don't watch out. Watch out now. Number 19, Kansas. Kansas is good at football. Holy crap. Who saw that coming? They beat Iowa State 28-21. All right. Now, Tulane, highest ranked group of 5 team, number 20 in the country. James Madison is 21. Tulane does have 1 loss, but they beat East Carolina 13-10 Saturday. Air Force 8-1 got trounced by Army 3-6. Those were their records. They lose by 20 points, 23-3. All right, Liberty's undefeated. They beat La Tech 56-30. Now, James Madison undefeated. Liberty undefeated. Tulane 1 loss. Air Force pretty much out of the conversation after getting mollywopped by a 6-loss Army team. I know it's a rivalry game, but still, wow. What happens if 2 of these teams finish undefeated? What happens if Tulane, who plays in the toughest of those conferences, the AAC, not to be confused with the ACC or anything else, the AAC has 1 loss and they're ranked ahead of everybody? I've always thought the top 2 ranked group of 5 teams should play in like a play-in game to get that automatic berth in a New Year's 6 games. Just my thoughts. All right. That's the round out for college football action this past weekend. Let's get to your questions. All right. How can you have this many elite athletes on a team and you don't have one? Thank you. This is a great question. I haven't read it yet, but I'm reading it now and I know where it's going. And you don't have one other person who can catch it and try to run it. It seems like that's been the exact same excuse for like 6 years. Now, there was one thing. I read it, okay, during the commercial break. For some reason, I missed it while I was talking about it live on air. Matt Rule did say it was his fault for not giving our returners more opportunities to return the ball. So maybe we'll get more opportunities. But I'm with you. There's got to be at least, I don't know, anywhere from 1 to 3 guys who could potentially do this. But Matt Rule did bring that up, okay? Somehow I missed that when I was live on air, so that's my fault. I apologize. But he did say it was on him for not giving the returners more opportunities to return those punts and or kicks, something I would love to see. All right, next question. That was Axel Foley, by the way, with that question. All right, next up, Thomas and Lincoln. Thoughts on Texas almost blowing it and Oregon jumping Texas in the AP poll? Well, I thought Texas was going to lose. I don't think Kansas State is better than Texas. I just thought Kansas State was a hot team at the right time. Texas is not quite the same without Quentin Ewers, although their backup stepped in and did an admirable job, I tell you what. So I wasn't shocked that the game was as close as it was. Thoughts on Oregon jumping Texas in the AP poll? I think Oregon's the best one-loss team in the country. I think Washington is incredibly good, and I think Oregon beats them in a rematch in the Pac-12 championship game and gets in the college football playoff. I think Oregon is a team that can make some real noise. I think Michigan, I think Georgia, I think Oregon. Those are my three favorites right now. I still have question marks about Florida State, okay? And I'm not convinced the Big 12 championship winner is going to get into the CFP as it is. All right, there it is. I've been waiting for it. Would you consider starting Chubba Purdy, given Harburg and Sims are turnover prone? I was wondering why a question like that hadn't come in yet. All right. You got to consider it. How do you not consider it? All right. Jeff Sims is an uber talented guy, but there's something going on upstairs right now. I don't know if anybody else remembers this. I think it was the Northern Illinois game. Maybe it was Louisiana Tech. I forget, but he came in for like a couple of plays, and he turned the wrong way on a run play. And then he was out so quick. I don't know if many people noticed it. Then he gets a chance a couple of weeks ago, puts the ball on the turf, Purdue. Okay, so I just don't see him as a viable option. He has physical talent, physical skills, big, fast dude, athletic, strong arm. There's something going on between the ears because high-level sports is as much mental as it is physical once you get to that point. What did Bruce Smith say in The Little Giants? It's 80% mental, 40% physical. I love that math, and I also love the logic. Until he gets that straightened out, I don't care about the physical talent. You got to be able to do simple things, and he's got to get that straightened out. Harburg, the guy plays with so much heart. I don't know how you don't root for him, but at the same time, if you're going to turn the ball over, I just talked about his fumble rate. Not something I enjoyed talking about. John Bishop put it out on Twitter. Blame him. My point is this. Purdy's probably the better passer of the three of those guys. I do remember last year when he got an opportunity to play. It wasn't so pretty. You could see that his wheels up top were spinning really, 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 really fast. Now, a year later, he's had a year to improve, a year to grow, a year to mature, a year to get reps under his belt. I don't know how you – and I'm always a guy that you earn it each and every week in practice. Like, you've got to earn it every week in practice. And so, for me, I don't know how you don't consider him as an option. But he is still listed, as far as I know. Maybe there's a new depth chart that's come out since the game Saturday that I haven't seen. He's still listed third on the depth chart. There must be a reason for that. So I think you've got to consider Chubba. I think it's got to be earned in practice. So I'm curious to see what happens this week. It's interesting because we have three talented guys. I mean, just physically. I mean, Harburg was a top 20 dual threat quarterback coming out of high school. You know, Jeff Sims, an NFL scout, said he can make all the throws, and he's even more known for running. Okay, and Purdy, I mean, he's got a brother playing in the NFL, and he was highly recruited going before he went to Florida State. We got three talented guys. We just need the game to slow down mentally for one of them so we can take care of the ball, and I frankly don't care who it is. It does not matter to me. I don't play favorites. All right, I think you consider him. I would be mildly surprised if he starts, but I guess we'll see what happens. All right, until next time, Husker Nation, have a great week. Go Big Red, and always remember to throw the ball.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any landscaping project. And you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by